let's talk about Jameis Winston. Nick Underhill of New Orleans.football reported that, based upon observations at OTAs last week, Winston is moving with a visible limp. He tore the ACL in his knee week 8 last year. He was cleared to participate in the OTAs, so I don't know why he'd be limping unless they decided whatever limping he's doing, it isn't that bad. But, Chris, one thing I've learned from working with you is, and it's an excellent point, if you're limping, you're compensating. And if you compensate long enough, what's going to happen? Something else is going to get injured. Yeah. Something that's carrying the burden of the body part that isn't 100% is going to be less than 100% because it's going to get thrown out of whack. So if he's limping, if it's true that he's limping, I don't see how that's a good thing. And I don't know when he's fully cleared and ready to go, but obviously he wants to prove himself. He wants to earn his money. He wants to be ready to go. Here's some video that we can scrutinize as to whether or not he's limping. Maybe he's just struggling with that gigantic.
Well, I think that's
limping.
probably he is. Yeah, I mean he's ginger, I'm sure. And then like to your point, what you're saying, you're not wrong there. Those damn knee braces are not easy. You're going to be a little bit uncomfortable and walking weird, especially at first. But I'm not shocked to hear that there's a little limp. I'm not. I mean, it's not that far out. He's playing quarterback. I'm sure they're just going, hey, we're not going to ask you to run or do a whole bunch of cutting. We'd like you just to do what you're seeing right here. And honestly, seeing just a few things I saw even online last night, like I saw the reports during the weekend too. He's moving. Like, it wasn't as bad a limp as I was expecting. I will say that. Just from the report itself, I thought, oh man, maybe is he really struggling here? Okay, I found that to be a somewhat common walk for a guy with that type of injury at this time of the year.
I just think the brace is bothering him. I haven't seen a lot of it.
Right.
But he's, he posts those Jameis Winston, I'm still thinking Lamar Jackson, Jameis Winston's goofy workout videos on social media.
Right.
Those, he's doing all those weird things that apparently work for him.
Yeah.
I didn't see him limping in any of those that he's posted. Right. I think the brace is just bothering him. I think he's thinking, this is big freaking brace. How am I supposed to move around with this thing on my leg? It hurts. It feels like that's what it was.
It does seem like that. So yeah, we'll continue to watch it. And again, I don't think they're going to ask him to do much than what we saw right there. I bet you him shuffling through the cones is about as aggressive as it gets for him there. But oh man, Mike, I've been with too many players who've had to wear that brace and their knees feel 100%. They don't have an issue, and just because that steel or whatever it is, the carbon fiber, whatever, just can kind of hit the bones around the knee and make things sore and a little uncomfortable, even when your knee is totally like tip-top and ready to go. So I'm sure he is getting used to it a little bit. It wasn't as bad as I was expecting. I'll say that.
He has a teammate in Michael Thomas that he hasn't really been able to play with yet because Thomas suffered the ankle injury week 1 of the 2020 season after he had a record-setting 2019, and we've hardly seen him. He's not ready yet. Saints plan for training camp. He's been at OTAs, but he hasn't worked on the field. I feel like they've gotten resolved whatever the issues were, and there were issues there. And there was some reporting that was done by Jeff Duncan, I believe, during the 2020 season, just about how exasperated the Saints were becoming with Thomas and his attitude and the way he was treating some of the employees in the organization. And look, I can't remember how clearly and pointedly I reported this at the time, but there were people around the league who were saying that Thomas's camp were trying to get other teams to make trade offers for him in advance of the 2020 trade deadline. Not that the Saints were going to do it, but he wanted out. So I don't know if it was a thing between him and Sean Payton.
There was something.
And now Payton's gone, so the bridge is being rebuilt. But the bottom line is he's not healthy till he's healthy. And they have Chris Olave, and they picked up Jarvis Landry. And people think it's going to be Olave and Landry and Michael Thomas. I still... it could be Landry plays the role of Michael Thomas because maybe deep down they know that anything they get out of Michael Thomas at this point is gravy.
I'll be interested to see. It's a huge question mark for their football team. Of course, there's a lot of money and resources paid to this guy. And, yes, even though he had the great year 2 years ago, he hasn't necessarily made the Saints feel great about all the money they've thrown him that way just because he's dealing with injuries. And then, yes, you talk to people around the league or connected to the Saints, you get the same sense there that, maybe he got paid and became a little harder to handle. I certainly heard some things down there from people to say that that's kind of what was going on, or the way at least people felt, for sure. But, man, if he is on the field, that it makes you change, or makes you think about them and go, ooh, man, Olave, him, Jarvis Landry, Alvin Kamara coming out of the backfield. We know that's a good offensive line. Man, if they could get him, and with that defense, that's where we get back into the conversation we had during the draft, where we go, I don't think the Saints are going to take a quarterback, because I think they think they're still damn good and can compete in the NFC. And, when you kind of evaluate them and then think about Michael Thomas being healthy on the field, you go, crap, they could be a player here in this thing if Jameis can stay healthy and keep progressing in that offense. So it'll be interesting to see where this goes for him.
We had mused at one point in the offseason about the possibility the Saints would just move on from him. And when they drafted Chris Olave, I think some people thought that as well. But he was one of the guys who restructured his contract to help Mickey Loomis, the GM of the team, with this annual effort. Every year they're in this cap mess, and they wave the magic wand. And one of the guys in whose direction they waved that magic wand was Michael Thomas. Restructured the deal. There's no way they could move him at this point. He's going to be on the team this year. The question is, what will he actually be doing? Will he be cleared to play? How involved will he be? And then where do we go from there in 2023 as he's getting toward the final 2 years of his contract? $15.5 million base salary next year, which was a lot when they signed him. It's if he's playing well, that's a bargain at this point when you consider what other guys are making. So,
lately, right.
Still a lot to be figured out between the Saints and Michael Thomas, and the Saints and Jameis Winston and his knee. But I feel better about Winston after seeing that video, because I really do think it's the brace more than anything else.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.